All right. How you doing? Welcome back to Blackguard News, where everything is connected. I was spent the last couple of minutes playing with the chords. You can thank me for that, for not doing that while I was actually doing a video. I don't know that. Oh, there's Crackle. Jesus Christ. Okay. Did we get it back? Check. All right. Is it back? Time for the what? Deoxit? Okay. All right. Anyways, yeah. Contemplative Pragmatist says this thumbnail is rough. I knew I would kind of get some attention with the thumbnail. I knew I would get your attention with the thumbnail. But it's interesting because I think we'll talk about this, real quick to start everything off. Tip from Urban Hermit. Thank you. Start the show off on Rockfin. Thanks so much. Basil says 10-minute frostbite weather here in the Finger Lakes. You stay warm, sir. Stay unfrostbitten. Anyways, good to see you all. Judy Truitt says Chris Martinson just had a discussion about the balloon. You could identify that it had solar panels on it. Okay. Oh, contact cleaner. Yes. Oh, that's my bad. I haven't even tried. I have some contact cleaner, but I haven't tried it yet. Okay. Clayton says rare sunny winter day in Michigan. It's actually almost warm here. The sun is out, and so are the Skyriders, right? The previous forecast for today was the high of like 69 or 68. I was like, oh, that means it's going to be 75, right? Because that's how it works here. Generally, if the sun's out and they say it's going to be 68 degrees, that means, it's going to be 75. Oh, it's fallen from the sky? Okay. Anyways, it's actually quite warm. And I don't have my my thermometer up. It was shot down. It was shot down? Really? Okay. Anyways, yeah, so it's quite warm. The sun is out. It's getting a little toasty, and the Skyriders are going crazy up there. And right in front of the sun, of course, because that's the only place that contrails happen is right in front of the sun. Somebody just, explained that to me scientifically. I was like, really? Okay. You're smarter than me, I guess. A flying wet market. Was it shot down? Things happen so quickly. I can't even keep up with them. And I'm gonna do just an incredibly stupid search right now. Shot balloon down. I don't know. They shot it down. They shot him. Nice. Skyrider is politically correct, exactly. I call them Skyriders. But they're, they're doing a lot of work right in front of the sun. That's so odd. They're not off over here. They're not above the mountain. There's a lot going on right in front of the sun. It was just shot down. Okay, 4 minutes ago. They shot down a spy balloon. They did it. Are they going to show? Hold on, guys. Chata. What did they shoot it down with? Eyewitness describes the moment U.S. military shot down a spy balloon. Spy balloon. He recalled seeing multiple aircraft flying around the balloon for about 20 to 30 minutes before he saw what he assumed to be a missile coming from an airplane that struck the balloon down. You need a whole goddamn missile to do it, You can't just pepper spray it with a couple of bullets. You got to get out with a missile. I don't know. What I meant to say was, yeah, you know what I mean. The balloon basically like popped, like you'd see a normal balloon kind of pop. Now it's still drifting and floating down as we speak. It was super visible here from the beach. I don't know. Did they show the moment when it was shot down? There's a ground stop in the Carolinas until 5:15 Eastern time. We don't know what's in that thing. And they don't. I guess so. That's fair enough. Hold on.
Space. How did you spot it? Well, we were expecting it to move over the western North Carolina area between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. But then, to our surprise, it didn't show up until after sunrise. So I spotted it around 8:50 this morning in the southern sky to the south of Asheville. And much larger than I expected it to be, drifting off to the east-southeast, as we were just talking about in the interview. Beautiful sight, a little unusual. As a member of the public, we're not too educated on everything that is going on with the balloons, but it was very interesting to see it and follow the saga that's been playing out across the United States over the past few days.
Okay, that's all I can take of that. It's a silly thing, I think, but whatever. It was very intriguing for a while, I guess. The jets were tracking it. Sorry. Trying to get this thing just so. Anyways. Max RJ says it already did its job, flew the whole United States, and the information was already sent away. Is everybody mad that I have a picture of Trump on my thumbnail? It's so stupid. It's a news story, you goofballs. If you really are upset that I have a picture of Trump. I'm talking about Trump saying that we should end the Ukraine war. So that's what I'm covering, and it's part of the news story. So, but like, I don't know if that's it, but still, people are funny. Garland Nixon did a really great piece on this. But here's why I'm talking about it, because I don't, whether you believe that Trump is really anti-war or not. Yes, you're right. The narrative is shifting to China, right? They really are trying to do that. That's intentional. Anyways, Trump came out and said we should end the Ukraine war. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because whether or not you believe he's going to do that, I don't necessarily believe he's going to do that. It's 50-50. He actually he didn't do a lot of the things he said he was going to do when he was first elected president, but he did do a couple of things that I was like, all right, he canceled the TPP, and I was like, okay. Nobody liked that thing. He said he was going to do that, and he did it. He said he was going to try and get peace talks with North Korea going, and that actually happened. He said he would get out of Afghanistan. Well, guess what, Clayton? Did you know that he tried to get out of Afghanistan, and they kept, the powers that be kept messing with him, saying, the military industrial complex kept saying, no, man, you can't do that, right? Every time he wanted to leave Syria, they would like, oh, there's an attack, chemical attack in Syria. We can't possibly leave Syria. Oh, something happened in Afghanistan. We can't possibly leave Afghanistan. Well, did you know that there was a deal to leave Afghanistan in place when he left office in May? Biden actually ended up doing it, but he didn't do it until September, and he did for what a lot of people understood to be a pretty crappy job of withdrawing from Afghanistan. So the deal to leave Afghanistan was actually put in place by Trump. So he did get us out, and nobody's going to say like Trump got us out of Afghanistan because it happened during the Biden administration, but he actually put that deal in place. And on some levels, the Biden administration couldn't actually back out of it. It was hard for them to back out of it because they already had that in place. So he did do that. He had peace talks with Russia, blah, blah, blah. So, and he said he was going to do that with Russia and, whatever. Again, there were some things he did that I don't. Yeah, right, Judy Truitt. He actually told the military to get out of Syria, and they refused. Because the military-industrial complex is apparently, stronger than a sitting American president, if they want to be. And so, but the reason why I'm talking about this is whether you believe he's going to get us out of Ukraine or not. This is a winning message, this is a winning message in a presidential election, about a war that is incredibly unpopular, right? Whether you think so or not. Anyways, it's incredibly unpopular, this war, and so if he keeps saying, he could just run on this one thing. If we're still in Ukraine at the end of the year. Sorry. If we're still in Ukraine at the end of the year, and he's one of the only contenders for the presidency, like that's gonna make his campaign have some legitimacy. And I'm just saying that this is a winning message. So if he runs for office, do we have more Crackle? The Crackle is back. Garland is a Zen master, yes. Hold on. If hold on one second. If nobody else is talking about getting out of the war, and he is, well, he's he's going to catapult right up to the top of the standings, because that is people are going to be like, yep, that's what we want to do. Now, of course, I have my opinion, my actual, personal opinion is most, this is pretty much all theater, but the theater looks good for the Trump side. The Trump might win again, part of the story, the play that's playing out. Yeah, and we have a long way to go, right? We have 2 year or less than 2 years until the next election. I was actually thinking about. Well, hold on one second. Max Sarge says he probably would be better than Biden, and Judy says I agree. I mean, I'm just reading people's opinions. I think a lot of people might actually feel the same way. Clayton says, do you think the war exit was botched on purpose to make anti-war policies look dumb? I don't know. I don't know if it was botched on purpose or not. It was botched. Oh, somebody on Colin said I want to see the autopsy of the balloon. Yeah. If they no, they'll probably bury it at sea, right? Man, we were really like worried about this balloon and what it was doing, but we buried it at sea. According to it was a Muslim balloon. But anyways, I'm just letting you know this is what he is saying, and that saying stuff like this. Oh well, first of all, for sure, all the corporate media heads will explode if he is saying this. Let's go to this. The corporate media heads will absolutely go into overtime. Pearl clutching. Top of the head blowing off, kind of stuff. Yeah, people will, be outraged and, they'll call him, of course he's a Putin puppet, right? Because he wants to end the war in Ukraine. Of course he's a Putin puppet. Anyways, Valhalla says it was botched because we should have never invaded Afghanistan and we should have punished the people responsible for getting us to invade Afghanistan. I agree, Valhalla, wholeheartedly. Anyways, but the reality is that not a lot of people are very happy about this war. The average American is like probably not too happy about this. Former President Donald Trump said he would successfully negotiate an end to the Russia-Ukraine war within 24 hours. Trump, who decades before became president, blah, blah, blah. Trump maintained that the war would have never happened if he had not been defeated by President Joe Biden, while asserting that he could still bring a quick end to the conflict as president. If I were president, the Russia-Ukraine war would never have happened. But even now, if president, I would be able to negotiate an end to this horrible and rapidly escalating war within 24 hours. Such a tragic waste of human life. I don't care what you think about Donald Trump. I agree with that statement. And it doesn't matter who says it. That's true and correct, right? And if people are saying something else about this, I don't necessarily agree, with the other folks' opinions on this. But anyways. Yes, you're right. Zelensky doesn't care how many Ukrainians die. He doesn't want to end the war. Trump went on to say, first come the tanks, then come the nukes. Get this crazy war ended now. So easy to do. Trump loyalist and Republican Congressman Troy Nehls of Texas also touted the prospect of former president easily solving the conflict earlier Thursday. Again, those are good words, Judy. And this is another example of Republicans going left of the Democrats, being left of the Democrats. And this is why, if you are a card-carrying Democrat, and you support all the policies of the Democrats, you're most likely, pretty right-wing, without understanding that you are right-wing. Maybe you think you're compassionate and caring and blah, 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 but they're actually just right-wingers draped in diversity. And so that's not necessarily. All of their policies are extremely right wing, as right wing, if not more right wing than the Republican Party. So the Republicans are out lefting once again, out lefting the Democrats, and that is going to make them more popular with the average person who seek to change things through going to the polls. Anyways, Ukrainian President Zelensky said during a Thursday interview with Sky News that he is not interested in negotiating with Putin, arguing that the Russian president also doesn't want negotiations because he doesn't want peace. Thursday was not the first time that Trump has offered to step in and quickly bring an unlikely end to the Russia-Ukraine war. Last year, in October, he said, I'd like to help out. Last year, the former president volunteered to lead negotiations and argued that Ukraine should have voluntarily ceded territory to Russia to secure peace. By the way, YouTube, I'm just reading this article from Newsweek, his major outlet. I'm just reading the article, okay? Eternity Row says, is taking away Medicare and Social Security a Republican idea? No, it's a right-wing idea. And if you don't understand Eternity Row, Biden is already chopping up Medicare. He's planning on chopping down Medicare. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with taking away Medicare and Social Security, not at all. Okay, now but Eternity Row, what you're doing is doing an ad hominem attack without actually addressing the things that he's saying. So you're saying the things he's saying don't matter because he's a bad person, which is not an intelligent thing to say. Eternity Row, okay? Oh, now you're going to call me names. So you're a very smart person. I see that, and appreciate it. I always take things seriously from extremely smart people when they have things to say about me. I always take it very seriously. Anyways, so. And, I don't know. The thing is, though, Caleb, is I don't know that, who knows? But, Trump did actually negotiate the end of the Afghanistan war. He negotiated it. They set it up. They had to go through with it when Biden was president. That's what happened. But nobody wants to admit that or talk about that. Nobody on the left does. And that's a good thing. Getting out of Afghanistan was a good thing. Even as bungled as it was a good thing. It was time to go. Yeah, you should actually do that. Eternity Row, you should look up the term for fascism because you don't know what it means. You have no idea what you're talking about. So, I don't know. You can keep on spewing, yeah, totally, dude. Oh, yeah. You're smart. Okay, anyways. You can keep on, saying that stuff, but okay. It doesn't make me look bad. It makes you look bad. Yeah. So, but this is, this is something that people agree with. People agree with not having war. People don't like war, right? The anti-war agenda was, and let's see, NO86 says Trump has been anti-nuke and war for decades. Yeah. He has. That's, exactly those things. You're right. You're right. And that's, so how does that make him, a crazy person if he's anti-war or, he doesn't like nuclear weapons? How does that make him, how does that make him a bad person? I don't really understand. Try and help me figure that out. Somebody who wants to get us out of conflicts that have been going on for 20 years or, way too long is somehow a bad person. So I don't know. I don't, I think there are problems with Trump. There are things I don't like about Trump, but he's not like the worst person that ever walked the face of the earth. Like that's not how I view things. I mean, I find Biden as horrific as Trump. Maybe even more. Some people find Biden more horrific than Trump. But anyways, I don't know. This is a winning message from Trump. Just that's what I'm saying. Like it or not, you don't have to like it. You don't have to. Yeah, I know Eternity Row, but you don't understand. You don't know what fascists really are. When people say they want to take away your right to say things, right, to have free speech for safety, because they want to make people safe, that's actually fascist. That's something that Democrats love to talk about, love to support. That's actually fascist. So you have to actually understand what kind of fascism you actually support. No, you don't know what it is. You have no idea. If you want to stop going to war, if you want to stop war, that's not fascism. That's the reverse of fascism. That's actually that's a progressive leftist idea to stop. I don't want war. I don't like war. So, that's not. And we're talking about ideas here. We're not talking about like people. You've been told that somebody is just super bad and they're fascist, and you're just like, oh, sure, I agree with that. Without actually thinking it through. So I urge you to think it through. Okay. War is uncool. Exactly. Oh, and then also, just calling people names and stuff. That's also helpful too. You're sounding more like a 12-year-old, Eternity. All right. Or maybe we'll go 8. You want to try for 6? Okay. Yes, war is stupid. Judy Shuitt. War is stupid. All right, Fantomas, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I guess you're talking about Trump today.
Yeah, I'm talking about Trump said he wants to get out of the Ukraine war.
Yeah, I think that that's something that's like a lot of people, they still don't want to say that. A lot of the Democrats, they're stuck on this war mentality, and we keep on going back to these. These types of dramatic characters like Trump, and all they have to do, but they won't do it because that's where the funding and the money is. And so we're stuck at this point where everybody knows what the truth is regarding the Democrats. And most likely people say, well, a lot of people who support the Democrats still, the thing I would tell them is like, we already know the Republicans' game, but the Democrats, like, they're still pretending.
Right.
And that's the big problem. If you look at what's happening with the progressive base, especially like the Justice Democrats and all of that, they're still playing this game like they're going to do something. And more things happen around the world, and things start ratcheting up and heating up, and nobody's actually taking any action to do anything. So,
right, and nobody's really. Nobody's standing in the way of the military-industrial complex, and the intelligence agencies and all the people that decided that they wanted to engineer it. The people that are kind of engineering what's going on, right? So the people in charge are facilitating those plans, not getting in the way of it. And if you actually paid attention, if for people that didn't pay attention to the Trump administration, because their hair was on fire the whole time. He tried to end some conflicts several times and was thwarted several times. And that was actually, and there was a lot of weird things going on during the Trump administration, but his cabinet, people in his cabinet were trying to get in the way of him doing things like getting out of Syria and getting out of Afghanistan. I mean, John Bolton, resigned because he wanted to leave Afghanistan. I mean, that's ridiculous.
He probably would attack China, though, if he could have endless real estate there.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Is I don't necessarily, it's hard to actually, that's why I can't actually be like a Trump supporter. I can't actually be like yeah, he's gonna do it. I'm just like, Because I
Right.
don't know his intentions are, he's got a lot of like confusing kind of differing things going on. That was also true too.
Well,
You know,
that's the
he
thing.
he raised the military budget. Just like every
Yeah.
other president, the military budget went up and up. He did some other things, strikes in Syria and strikes against was it Soleimani? He took out the Iranian general, right? And so he does some things that are like um, very in line with like what every other president does. But he did do a couple of things that I thought were actually pretty good.
Well, yeah, I mean that's part of the thing too. With someone like that, you have to use him for like a sounding board when he's on the debates, when he's doing speeches, when he's
Right.
doing rallies and stuff like that. And a lot of people will say, "Well, why you don't support someone like that? You just have to have him say what he says in those sound bites, and regardless of if he's a disgusting individual or not, that's not the point."
Right.
And I
Right.
think a lot of people get so caught up in the weeds with whoever it is, whether it's Biden, whatever your choice is, Biden,
Sure.
Bernie Sanders, Trump. You hate all these people, and you say they can't say these things, and that's part of the problem. And we're not having that open discussion, or a lot of people are trying to shut down discussion because of these issues that we need to talk about just because of their politics, which is just ridiculous.
Right. Well, everybody's caught up in the cult of personality, and
Yeah.
my side versus their side, and it's just like, you delegitimize. If you just delegitimize everybody and everybody's, what they're saying based on their personality or based on which team they're on, then there will never be any discussions about anything. Right? You can't discuss anything because if I've deemed you a very bad person, quote unquote, then there's no common ground. There can be no common ground, and that's the way the powers that be like it. They like people thinking like this.
Well,
They
it's
love
funny,
it. They
John.
love it when people are just like, you're a racist, fascist, Trumper, Putin puppet. That bot. That's who you are. They love it when people do that. They love that.
Yeah,
Or you're
that's
a commie Democrat. You're a commie, wild-eyed, whatever, right? Woke Democrat. They're all like that. Love it when people think like that.
I was watching Sabby's show last night, and she had on John Stasevich, and one of the things that really struck me was the fact that he said, "Well, when I go on the debate stage, I'm not going to take the gloves off or have a negative type debate where I'm criticizing the person. I'm going to criticize the policies." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine and all, but the truth is that we live in not just in a nation, we live in a world that people want to see that."
Yeah.
They want to see other people have a dramatic type of theatrical display and of criticisms directed at the person that they don't like. And if you don't understand that getting into politics, I don't know what to tell you, because that person is going to win every single time who takes the steps like Trump does,
Right.
who takes the extra steps like Ross Perot. Well, Ross Perot didn't win, but the point is that he had the footage and the sound bites to carry him to whatever he wanted to do next in his pursuits of whatever he wanted, of whatever message he wanted to get across.
Right.
So I think that's part of the problem, is that people don't understand. Like, I guess what I would say is a lot of people say, "Well, why Trump? Why Trump?" Well, I mean, the real answer is that because he's such a emotional, dramatic character, whether he's right or wrong, he just captivates people in that way.
Right. Oh, for sure. Yeah, and he moves the needle, right? He gets viewers. Uh, um, yeah, and I was thinking we were talking about, I don't know, we were talking about presidents or politics yesterday or the day before, well, every day, but it's part of the theater right these days is that it's 50% of the country like this, and everything is so close, right? The presidential elections are always people win by like 3% or 4%, right? And that's, to me, kind of funny, because I looked back through presidential elections over the last century, and back when FDR was president, or and other people were president, they won by like the landslide wins that they had were just amazing, right? They won like every state but like 4, right? That's how popular these presidents were, but it's also, that's kind of how things really are, right? Things are never really like 50-50. People go pretty strongly in one direction or another. And so, the idea that every election these days in the last 20 years has been like, 51 to 49, like it's so ridiculous. That's not even true. The polls, there were those CNN polls that I've talked about quite a lot when Hillary was running against Trump, right? And they put these like snap polls up online. And well, first it was Bernie against Hillary, right? And in these snap polls, it was like 90% Bernie, and you know what I mean. Nobody liked Hillary, right? Or whatever it was. The number was like 85% Bernie, 12% Hillary. And I was like, that's how people really feel. And then Hillary went on to win, quote unquote, and they put up another snap poll, Trump or Hillary, and it was like, yeah, it was the same thing. It was like 85% Trump and 12% Hillary. It was like, well, she was deeply unpopular, so there's no way she even won. The idea that she won 49% of the vote, I think, is like ludicrous, on some level. So, you have to. I don't know. Right. George Robeson said Nixon won 49 states in 1972. 49 states. So that's kind of the way like public opinions kind of go, right? It's not always like 50-50, but they have you believing that it's like one side of the country is deeply entrenched in Trumpism, and the other side is deeply entrenched in the fair and righteous compassion of the Democrats. It's just like, no, that's not, I mean, the biggest voting bloc are independents anyways.
Well, the one thing I'll say in closing is that I think that everybody's stuck on one particular politician, one particular leader. The real problem we're facing right now is that politics is such a narcissistic driven system that it's so very, very difficult now to get anything done, especially with the age of TV and the internet covering everything, and we're immersed in that. It's just more and more to feed that narcissism. So that's what I would say to anyone who wonders about what the situation that we're in. I mean, it's just so much narcissism that we can't turn it off now.
Right. It is very difficult. But
the other thing I would say is that when Hakeem was giving his lectures to the other people in the halls of D.C. Yesterday, he kept on saying, "But what this could do for me instead of us." And you just hear this me constantly, even if it's like an accidentally Freudian slip. It keeps happening over and over and over again, that me. So again, I don't have an answer for any of this. And I think that that's the problem we're going to be faced with every single time we want to do something that's really powerful for change.
Yep. I mean, we do. Yeah. Yes. We live in a society of incredible narcissism.
Well, Definitely. I'll leave it there, Kev. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Chuck Hepner says, don't forget the effort by the ruling elite in Russia to manipulate Western politicians, businessmen, and as well as journalists. That's why Putin's fifth column is that powerful in the West. Gary Kasparov. Okay. But the elite in the West don't manipulate people. We don't manipulate politicians, businessmen, and journalists either. We're just fair players. I don't know. Okay. Well, let's talk about a couple other things. We spent a lot of time on that. I don't know. Chuck, people are really like, oh my God. I'm not necessarily on anybody's side. I'm talking about ideas here. But cult of personality. Everybody's really super into this cult of personality thing going on, right? You have to be on somebody's side. Can you be on the side of the people of the United States? Can you be on the side of like I'm just checking things out and having and discussing ideas. Can you be on that side? Can you be on the side of, reading into a situation? It's not, Chuck. I don't think you understand. First of all, it's funny. All the people coming in here, fascism versus democracy. I don't know. You guys should go. I don't mean this really super meanly, but maybe a little bit. Go read a book, or go, look up the meaning of fascism, and understand what it is and what's really going on in this country or on this planet. I don't know. What's up, Obsolete Optics? Thanks for the super chat. Just me walking in late as hell. Thanks, man. I got another tip on Rockfin from 4-Foot Owl. Thanks. Thanks, 4-Foot Owl. The thing is that we can discuss things and ideas and people and situations without getting like super like, you got to pick a side or else you're a bad person and I can't talk to you anymore. What is that? Can we, I'm on the side of thinking people, right? The side of sanity, says Contemplative Pragmatist. Wow. Eric Hoffer sounds like take away hatred from some people and you have men without faith. I don't know what that means. Okay. I'm not sure what that means. But anyways, I'm on the side of just we're having a conversation. That's what side I'm on. Fascism versus democracy, we could go deep into that. I don't know if we have time to go into fascism versus democracy today, but fascism is corporate control of everything, which is kind of what we have right now. And it doesn't really matter whose side you're on, right? It doesn't matter whether you're on the blue team or the red team. What we have now is fascism. So we have the corporate control of pretty much everything. If we have any shred of democracy left, it's in tatters, and it's not that happened a long time ago. That's not Biden's fault or Trump's fault. It happened a long time ago. G. Demmer says discussions should seek what is correct, not who is correct. Right. We're discussing ideas. We're not talking about personalities. And the stream that Garland Nixon did on this particular subject was really great. And he was exactly right on. He said exactly the same thing. He's like, we're talking about ideas here. When you get into personalities, then you're not really discussing anything anymore. You're just saying, I don't like this guy. He's just a bad guy because I said so. Okay. Why? We're going to just go through it and discuss why? Real quick before I get out of here. But I'm not saying, first of all, I'll just say, I agree with an anti-war stance and an anti-war voice and somebody who seeks to foster peace. And if Donald Trump is the one that's saying that out of his mouth and somebody else is not saying it, I'll say, look, I like that idea. I don't care whose mouth it's coming from at this particular moment. Right? Because that idea is not coming out of the mouths of, the other folks. That doesn't mean that I agree with everything that Trump does or says. I'm just agreeing with that particular thing. All right. Well, Yeah, Judy Truitt says my big issue with Trump was the environment. Has Biden been any better? Not really. You know, not really. Not really. So if that's your only if that's your only road to propping up Biden against Trump, then that road is a. We've already seen the track record of the last couple of years, so not really happening. Lost Adult says I will never vote for an R or a D anyway. So I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. I don't really support either party, and I'm not really I'm not a fan of either side at the moment. This is from Fenrir, the carbon footprint of war. I don't know what they're blowing out there. Hold on. Will somebody tell me? Somebody says war is an ecological disaster and a human tragedy. There you go too. So if you're interested in climate change, if you're interested in saving the planet, if you're interested in not destroying what we have left of the biosphere, then you should be anti-war and you should support anybody who's willing to stop the madness of war. Right? If you're like, oh well, this war is just and correct, and this is great and fine, and let's keep going. But you care about the environment, I see a conflict of opinion, or I see a conflict of interest. Anyways, but this, right? We already discussed that the Abrams tanks get 2 miles a gallon, and need a whole lot of gallons of gas just to get a few miles. Nadia says vote communist, but the available parties on the ballot are all Trotskyist. Okay. Let's see before we get out of here. Oh, Thomas Reese. I meant to post something about this yesterday. From pink to dark brown, what color will we give the El Nino? This is this is like a new. They're forecasting anomalies, temperature anomalies. He's talking about a coming El Nino. He says this is valid for November 2023. So this is a forecast of maybe a coming El Nino and what the temperature anomalies will be. And this is a forecast of a temperature anomaly in the Arctic. Sorry, you guys can't see that. Going from right over the Arctic, going from 7 degrees Celsius all the way up to like in the 12 or 13 degrees Celsius. Temperature anomaly in November. I mean, right now, lately we've been running about what? In the 4, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 Celsius anomaly range in the Arctic. But imagine when it goes up to like 10 Celsius temperature anomaly in the Arctic. Imagine how awesome that's going to be. He showed this the other day, and it was just pink. So it was just going up to the like 7 degree, 8 degree temperature anomaly area. And now it's going all the way up to, 12, 13 degrees. That is insane. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Maria. Thank you. I appreciate that. Or Marie, shall I say. I don't know if that's how you say your name. I apologize. Let's see what else is in here. And he's saying, are we now afraid of methane? Saying maybe this is methane induced. Okay, I'm going to take this call before I end the show. William, how you doing?
Hi, hi, Kev. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Good. Check, check. Okay. Well, a couple of things. One, I wanted to bring your attention to the Thai government is looking at going after Pfizer. Apparently, um, and I'm having a little brain scramble here. I think it was the Thai princess or the daughter. Anyway, she's in a coma after one of her boosters, and there's a doctor Bhakti who's consulting. He's Thai.
Okay.
And there's a YouTube video from Redacted, Clayton and Natalie Morris, that are asking people to spread this around because the mainstream media, of course, isn't. Right. So I thought I'd bring that up because I know, where you're coming from on the jab. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Regarding Donald Trump and, there's a lot of, there are articles I included regarding Trump and Albert Pike, 33-degree Freemason Confederate general, when his statue was pulled down and lit a fire and paint was thrown on it.
Yeah.
Trump was adamant that statue be re-erected. Some people, Trump's mother's Scottish. Some people feel he's an honorary 33-degree Freemason. Who knows? I'm just throwing that out there that really, and Albert Pike predicted 3 world wars.
Right.
You know about that, right?
Yeah.
So, and what do we have now? We have Israel attacking Iran, right? With the drone attacks. And one might say it's conspiracy, but what's conspiracy more than 2 or more people working together to an end? That's a conspiracy. It's a racketeering if it's criminal.
Sure.
So we have conspiracies happening every day in the House and Senate. On every level, and the federal and state level, right? Obviously, and the State Department and the media,
right?
So we know that from the Smith Modernization Act of 2012. So what I'm trying to say is that, I don't know. I don't have answers. I'm just throwing things out. Like you said, this is about discussion. Obviously, I'm just gleaning what I can off and throwing it out there. And the way I look at it is, it's duopoly. Trump was a Democrat, then a Republican.
Oh, sure, yeah, right.
Biden's been corrupt his whole career, pathological liar from his Senate days, even lying about his college credentials. I mean, it's unbelievable if this man made it to be vice president than president, but that's the state of our politics.
Sure.
And then we know all about the military-industrial congressional complex, which is what Eisenhower's original speech included. You know what I mean? But right, to include the congressional complex in it. So who's running the show? You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so I just see Trump personally as another puppet. Along with the rest of the U.S. politicians. And it's, like you said, it's the transnational corporations and banksters, Western European banksters, at least running the NATO, policies through all their alphabet soup groups, you know what I mean? The International Monetary Fund, the UN, whoever, wherever. Project for a New American Century. We know the deal. So the question is Trump, can he make some minor differences, perhaps? But then again, as Albert Pike said, we'll send them a hero. We'll send them, in other words, this, if you look at it not over a presidency, but over decades. Do you follow me? And you follow.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Doesn't matter who's president. If you look at it, the trends over decades and decades, where we ended up and where we are. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the president is just a symptom, like Chris Hedges says, that gets vomited up. And the fact of the matter is, like you said, the majority of people are independents, and third of the populace doesn't vote for the president anyway. They're so disenfranchised.
Right.
So when someone wins, they get a third of the vote, or just over a third of the, not the vote, but when I say the vote, I mean the potential vote. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
They end up, you know what I mean by that, right?
Yep.
There's 1/3 of the people who look at the elections and go, yeah, well, we voted for so-and-so. We tried to vote. What did we see over and over again? It really doesn't matter. The policies keep rolling on. The trickle down ended up being siphoning up, trillions and trillions and trillions of words. What's the real truth about the Pentagon budget? We don't know because they fail an audit every time. And, so whatever. It's like, Give him the old razzle dazzle.
Right.
And meanwhile, the banksters and the transnational corporations are just churning it out, man. Pulling the jobs out of America when we had environmental regulations come down to the EPA and the labor regulations and, you know, some ability to fight for a living wage. And then, you know, there's that giant sucking sound that Ross Perot talked about. You know what I'm
Right.
talking about?
Yeah.
All the treaties lined up one after another, ba-bing, ba-bing, ba-bing. China's not our enemy. That's freaking nonsense. China's our trading partner where our international corporations set up shop, and then not to mention where they offshore their money. Who knows what country they do that in, that they only pay one or single-digit taxes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got to look at the bigger picture, right? The state says I'm delusional bipolar with grandiosity complex because I throw this all in their face all the time. Even sue corporations and
Right.
law firms I do. So they say I'm nuts.
I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this story about the Thai princess.
Yeah.
That
Sponsored by Pfizer.
I don't know, but they're saying she did not collapse due to a heart attack. She had a stroke from a ruptured brain aneurysm that caused a massive subarachnoid hemorrhage, resulting in cardiac and respiratory arrest. Well, so she had a stroke and then a heart attack. Wow. I mean, cardiac and respiratory arrest are mean everything stops, right?
You would think.
Anyways, is she? I'm trying to see if she's still.
She's in a coma.
She's
according to the
brain
reports.
dead and will never recover.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that sucks.
It's unfortunate, but you know what? It takes someone of that caliber to fall, and then maybe. Although, don't.
Well,
put it past
she
the
was quite
powers.
young too, right?
Yes.
That's really
Sad. Yeah.
yeah. Or I guess she wasn't. Well, let's see. She was born in 1978. So how old is she?
Well, let's see.
30s in her 40s, in her 40s. So she wasn't too.
Still a young lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's a crazy story. That's a
Yeah,
crazy
well, of
story.
course, at first they said it was some type of bacterial brain infection. You know, that's with the original reports. Of course, that bullshit.
Yeah.
And now we get this, but so more will be revealed. But
yeah.
Power of Pfizer through the World Health Organization, the Gates.
Well, they're saying it was not. It was not the vaccine. So just.
Oh, of course.
We don't know. We don't know. But yeah. Anyways, thank you, William, for calling in. I appreciate you. I've got to wrap up the show here.
Very good.
But I
Thank you.
appreciate your link, sir. Thanks for
You're
dropping
welcome.
them.
Good talking to you always.
All right. Thanks, guys. Okay, we're gonna, guys. I'm gonna have to wrap up the show. But thank you for the conversation. And I know, some people disagree with me. That's all good. It's fine. We can talk it out. She was 44, right? Denver, yeah. Yeah, that's, well, nobody knows what it's from, but it's a pretty major event, right? Okay, guys. There's lots of fisticuffs in the chats today. All right. Thank you all for hanging out with me today. Thank you for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. I will be back. Let's see. Tomorrow might be up in the air. Tomorrow I might do a little later, or I may actually take the day off tomorrow. I'm not sure. I might be here tomorrow. I'm just giving you guys a heads up that tomorrow, might be a, I don't know, might be to be announced is what I was looking for. But thank you to all the tippers. Thank you for hanging out. And I didn't even check the coffees yet today. buymeacoffee.com/blackbearnews is a good way to support the show. I have not received any coffees today. All good. Thanks to all that have supported the show. And I think I got a new Patreon subscriber. So thanks to the Patreon subscribers. That's Patreon at Black Bear News. And I will see you all later.